Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on your post notifications so that you know every time I post a new video. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day. So I don't think I've ever shown you guys the examiner's script on my channel. So here it is. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to show you what the invigilator gets to, or the instructions the invigilator gets to give to you guys, right? So mainly stuff in the boxes are what the examiner is asked to recite to you, including the extract right here, you know, where you see, well, I never know, that part as well, and the things in the boxes. Now the numbered things are the instructions to the invigilators. All right, so they are supposed to read the following extract twice at a normal reading pace, and they're not supposed to dictate the extract to you, like, you know, say, well, I never know, I would make it back. You know how your teacher would say stuff to you while you write? No, they aren't supposed to do it like that. They're supposed to read it so that you can get the actual essence of what the thing is saying, and you should be good. So the extract given for the 2021 examination was a piece from the Pain Tree Stories by Olive Senior, written by, you know, Olive Senior, female by the way. I think I found that out very late. I didn't know that Olive Senior was a woman. I thought it was a man. Anyways, so that then after they read the extract the first time, they could pause for a few seconds and then say to the candidates, I shall now read the extract a second time. Then after you have read the extract a second time, pause for a few seconds and then say to the candidates, you have 90 minutes to answer all the items on paper 1. When you are finished answering those items which are based on this extract, go straight to section B and answer items 8 to 45. Do not wait for any further instructions. The invigilator will tell you when the last 15 minutes are left, and you know the whole thing. The ball is in your court. It's up to you to do whichever part of the paper you want to do first, but I do encourage you to do the first 8 questions, the first 7 questions rather, that are based on the extract, right? So let's read the extract 2 times and go into the questions themselves, okay? Well, I never know I would make it back, much less get in without matron seeing me and cutting my tail for being outside without permission. Bread and water for a week. Plus, if she ever find out about the commotion I just caused. But I was lucky, for as soon as I reach up to the house and I tell from all the noise matron wasn't there. For the girls only carry on like that when she turn her back and leave poor aunt in charge. So I change into my house dress and get inside without a soul see me. But my heart was still in my mouth from the running and the fright, so that if anybody did say one word to me that evening, I would just start and bawl. Then I would let my mouth run away with me and tell them everything. Then dog would eat my supper for matron bone to hear. Alright, you're supposed to hear that a second time. Well, I never know I would make it back, much less get in without matron seeing me and cutting my tail for being outside without permission. Bread and water for a week. I think this is important, like reading the paper. I have read the paper already, of course. Plus, if she ever find out about the commotion I just caused, but I was lucky, for as soon as I reached up to the house, I could tell from all the noise matron wasn't there. For the girls only carry on like this when she turn her back and leave poor aunt in charge. So I change into my house dress and get inside without a soul see me. But my heart was still in my mouth from the running and the fright, so that if anybody did say one word to me that evening, I would just start and bawl. Then I would let my mouth run away with me and tell them everything. Then dog would eat my supper for matron would bone to hear. Alright? So that was the extract twice. Yeah, so that was the extract twice. And yeah, you have now 90 minutes to complete the paper, which is what, 1 hour and 30 minutes. So here's section A. You usually get to look at the questions while the person is reading the extract, so you are able to make notes, and you should have an idea of the answers in which you're looking for from the extract. So like a question like number 4 would be a bit problematic for someone who didn't read the questions before listening to the extract, right? Because you wouldn't know that you're supposed to be looking for that, so it's gonna be hard to remember the thing word for word. So it's best to have an idea of the answers that you'll be looking for. Okay, so let's start with the questions, I guess. Alright, so number 1. Well, the instructions here say that items 1 to 7, then the instructions say you will hear an extract. It will be read twice. Listen carefully before answering the questions based on the extract. Now, question 1, which of the following best, and please pay attention to words like these. So best captures the main focus of the extract. Is it A, conforming to rules, B, escaping consequences, C, rebellion against authority, or D, the anxiety of doing wrong? Now, the entire piece, you could feel the anxiety of the main character, because she was a bit apprehensive about whether they would find out what she did, or if someone would ask a question and then asking questions would lead to her spilling everything, and she doesn't want that, because whatever she did, it's not allowed, and she doesn't want anybody to find out, especially the matron. So I would go with D, the anxiety of doing wrong. Number 2, the speaker's state of mind is best described as nervous and thrilled, defiant and indignant, terrified and arrogant, or apprehensive and relieved. Alright, so perhaps nervous, but I wouldn't say thrilled, but maybe. But let's see the other responses. Defiant and indignant. Now, indignant is similar to or a synonym for resentful, but it's kind of different, because indignant is like a feeling of anger, or showing feelings of anger towards a certain situation where you feel like you're being unfairly treated in the situation. So I wouldn't say indignant, so B is out for me. Terrified and arrogant. Definitely not arrogant, maybe terrified. But terrified seems like a stretch as well. Apprehensive and relieved. Now, I would say that apprehensive and relieved would be the best answer here, because that's where I can see a bit of contrast, where the narrator is, she's wondering if they'll find out what she did or not, but she's also relieved that, number 1, the matron wasn't there, no one saw her come in. That's another thing she was relieved about. She was also relieved about she was also relieved that no one asked her any questions, right? But she was still wondering if they would ask her a question, and that's what she was shying away from. So that's why I think D would have been the best answer for this. Number 3, the expression bread and water for a week is effective in communicating the fact that A, the girls were poorly fed, matron was a disciplinarian, C, the narrator was being unkind, or there was scarcity in the institution. The best answer for this would be B, matron was a disciplinarian. Why? Because bread and water for a week would be the consequence of her getting caught. That's how she said it, and I can go back up here to to the extract only for this video, because you won't get to see the extracts again, right? So here. Well, I never knew I would make it back, much less get in without matron seeing me and cutting my tail for being outside without permission. Bread and water for a week. That's the consequence of if the matron finds out that she's been outside without permission. Bread and water for a week, right? So that implies that the matron is in fact a disciplinarian. Number 4, which of the following devices are used in the extract? Alright, first of all, I saw no signs of pun, but if you do, you can hint it in the comments and I'll, take a look over. I'm only human. I hadn't seen any sign of simile either, but I have seen metaphor and contrast, so I'd have gone with D. Number 5, the extract suggests that aunt cannot cope, is compassionate, is just like matron, cannot tolerate indiscipline. I would rule out C and D first of all, because that's the main comparison that she made between matron and aunt. That even further pushed the narrative of her being relieved that it was aunt who was in charge at the time and not matron. Okay? And compassionate, it's not evident. I wouldn't say there's hard, strong evidence that aunt is compassionate, but there is evidence that she cannot cope, she cannot deal with the situation. That's why the place is so noisy and seemingly to be disorderly when she's in charge. Number 6, which of the following is not an emotion experienced by the narrator in the passage? Fear, trepidation, indifference, or anticipation. Now, anticipation would be the most obvious, and the fear of being caught, that was there running through her mind. The fear of someone asking her a question that would lead her to let the cat out of the bag, and she wasn't for that, right? And now you are stuck between trepidation and indifference. Now in the examination, you have to learn to do this. Use the process of elimination to figure out an answer in a case where you don't know what all the answers mean. That's very important. Trepidation, if you don't know what trepidation means, you should know that what indifference means, because doing past papers, if you see it the first time on a past paper, look it up. If you see a word you don't know what it means, look it up, right? Expand your vocab. Indifference means not showing any concern. Now, just by that, you can say that indifference would be the answer, because she was in fact concerned. She was concerned about a lot of things. She was concerned about whether she would get caught or not if someone would ask her a question. I've said this so many times, but it's just by repeating and allowing you to get the point. Alright? Don't stress out on me now. But trepidation means Trepidation sort of means the build-up of anxiety or feeling of anxiety that something will happen, or there's a possibility or a chance of it happening. And we saw that where she was a bit apprehensive about whether someone would ask her a question like, "Girl, where you coming from?" Right? Because then she would start crying, and then she would start spilling her guts and telling them everything, and she never wanted that. So trepidation is basically the feeling or the build-up of anxiety that something might happen. Alright, so yeah. So the answer for number 6 is indifference. Slipped me for a bit. Number 7, the tone of the extract may best, again you see these words in caps, please don't look over them. It's really easy to look over them, so I'm encouraging you not to. Alright, so read questions twice if you have to, or even read them slowly and run your pen along each word to ensure that you read every word. So The tone of the extract may best be described as, alright, I see sympathetic here, and anywhere I see sympathetic and playful, I know for a fact that it isn't. So if first I look for repetitions in the multiple choice answers. So if I see sympathetic or playful in an answer, I will cross them out. And here we have playful and sympathetic. Usually that works out very well for me. Playful and confessional, definitely confessional. Conversational, that's the only one left. So the answer for this is D, conversational and confessional. And you're done with the first 7 questions, so you have numbers 8 to 45 now. And I always say this to the students that I tutor. Whenever you're doing a multiple choice, they're divided into sections, especially when they do like this section refers to items 8 to 11. Focus on just questions 8 to 11. Focus on getting those right. You're most likely to get most of those right than if you think about trying to get numbers 8 to 45 right. You'll make a lot more mistakes when you think about it like that, and it's just easier and less overwhelming to think about it in small parts than huge chunks, trust me. So items 8 to 11, the instruction says read the following scenario carefully and then answer items 8 to 11. Now, Megan and Lucy are conducting research on the reading habits of teenagers in the 14 to 16 age group in their community. Lucy believes that all that is required is gathering information from a website she found on the internet, but Megan believes that they should examine other sources. Alright. Now, pick out the key details from the scenario given to you. 2 people are doing a research, Megan and Lucy, not important, their names are not important, but 2 people are doing a research, and the research is on the reading habits of teenagers in the 14 to 16 age category in their community, right? So Lucy wants to gather the information from a website, while Megan believes that they should examine other sources. Now, number 8 says, which of the following would be the main advantage if interviews were used as a method of data collection? Cost savings, confidentiality of data, ability to probe for further details, or ease in processing the data gathered? The answer for this would be the ability to probe for further details. In an interview, if you have like a follow-up question, you can easily ask the person right away and get the answer. Like, you don't have to make any inferences or anything like that as opposed to using, say, a survey or a questionnaire, right? So number 9, which of the following web addresses is not likely to provide the most credible information for this research? No, readingteens.org, readingteens.com, readingteens.gov, readingteens.edu or edu. My God. No, most of you use .com sites, right? Whenever I'm doing research, I mainly go for the .org or I use Google Scholar because the information there is a bit more credible and it's cited, so it's easy for me to do my reference sheet or my bibliography. But the one that is least likely to provide the most credible information is your .com websites. Now, .org is for organizations that are for non-profit purposes. .gov are government-owned websites, and I can show you one right now. We have moh.gov.jm, right? And here we go. This is the Ministry of Health and Wellness for Jamaica. So yeah, and you can see that it has .gov and .jm is for the country, right? So that's that. And .edu or .edu, whatever you want to say, potato, that's for websites owned by educational institutions, mostly US colleges I would see with it. So let's say you have Arizona Tech, the website URL for Arizona Tech would be arizonatech.edu. I'm not saying that's a real thing. I'm just using an example. Yeah. So least likely to provide the most credible information for the research would be a .com website. Number 10, the most reliable source of primary data for this research would be. Alright, I know some of you may be watching this to see what the exam would be like, so here's a little hint. Look up primary versus secondary data, okay? Now, when you're thinking about primary data, you want to take something you want to get information that's straight from the horse's mouth. Think about it like that. While secondary data would be what is interpreted, paraphrased, and whatever. So primary is as raw as the data is going to get, okay? So periodicals, newspaper articles, those would be secondary sources. Now we have two primary sources here, the secondary school students and the parents of primary school students. Now which one, C or D, would be the best answer for this? Alright, let's first examine what we have going on. Alright, so the research is done on teenagers ages 14 to 13, right? Now the parents of primary school students. Now primary school students are, let's not talk about basic school, but probably from grades 1 to 6. They're about 5 to 6 years old, or 5 or 6 to let's say 12 at large, right? They have most students nowadays going into grade 7 at age 10 and 11, to be honest. I think I started high school at age 11, but there you go. It's not within that age range, nowhere within that age range. The primary school students are not ages 14 and them big 16 big numbers there. No, those aren't teenagers. All right, so secondary school students would be best. And why, even if it had said parents of secondary school students, wouldn't go to the parents, because a parent may think his or her child is reading this amount per day, but really and truly the child could be reading more or less. Alright? So the best person to ask or to talk about and to actually find out this from is the actual source, the teenagers themselves. Let's ask, how long you spend a read a day, brother? And you can find out you can find out what you need to find out easy. Alright? So number 11 says, which of the following activities would Megan and Lucy be involved in if they are conducting a survey? Creating and investigating a treatment group, diagnosing problems and finding solutions, gathering the sample's opinions and beliefs, or obtaining detailed information on a member of the sample. Alright, so this says, first of all, I'm going to take out obtaining detailed information on a member of the sample. Like, you don't need that. You don't need that. You just want to know, you read, yes, no. Oh my god, that sounds so rough. You read? Yes, no. Do you read? Yes or no? How much time do you spend reading? And most likely, there will be options. So like 2 hours a day, 1 hour a day, 3 hours a day, a stretch 20 hours a day. No one reads that long. No one reads for 20 hours a day. Unless you're doing law or something like that, that requires a lot of reading. I would say maybe you're reading for 20 hours a day, but I wouldn't say anybody reads for 20 hours a day. And here are my string. Anyways, gather the sample's opinions and beliefs. Judging by the question being asked, I don't see why you'd need opinions or beliefs. So I would not go for that either. Diagnosing problems and finding solutions doesn't really seem like a survey issue, if you get what I'm saying, or a survey probe. Like, it seems more interviewish or focus groupish. Like, in a focus group, you would have the problem and you'd be talking about finding solutions for the problem. Now, creating and investigating a treatment group. Yes, you would have to. This sounds like sampling or getting your sample together. So you would want a sample that properly represents the population being tested. Therefore, you would have to create the group or the correct group that you want to investigate. But then there would also be the question of whether it would be a treatment group versus a control group, because now what would be manipulated here? But I think that's the best answer, to be honest. But if you think something else, always, say it in the comments. And let's have a reasonable discussion about it. Now, items 12 to 15 is where we're at. So, instructions: read the following scenario carefully and then answer items 12 to 15. Now, I think I've read this before. Are these repeats? I don't repeat them repeat them, but they do repeat them. Alright, Miss Tricia Davis is the head of the English department at Malcolm High School. She realizes that over a 5-year period, fewer students chose literatures in English as an optional subject in the sixth form. She would like to determine the reason for this and also put in place a program to reverse the situation. Now, which of the following research designs would be most suitable for Miss Davis to use? Descriptive, exploratory, correlational, or experimental? Now, first of all, it wouldn't be descriptive and it wouldn't be experimental. So you're stuck between exploratory and correlational. Correlational is a research design where you actually compare more than one variables, and the question doesn't really have more than one variables if you look at it. She just wants to know why fewer students are choosing literatures in English as an optional subject in the sixth form program. That's what she wants to find out. Now, the exploratory is where you conduct a research based on a problem that's not clearly defined, and thus you will use this research design to come up with methods of some data collection, sampling. So basically, would you use questionnaires, interviews? How would you go about doing this research? So that's the best answer, I think, for number 12. Number 13, which of the following data collection methods is most suitable for Miss Davis to use in her research? Interview, document search, observation schedule, or participant observation? What would be the point? You wouldn't know why the students aren't choosing literatures in English if you just observe the participants. So observation wouldn't be the best solution here. Document search, I'm thinking when they say document search, they probably mean looking at the numbers and seeing how many students actually chose literatures in English as opposed to other subjects, right? Or other subjects as opposed to literatures in English, and that wouldn't tell you why they aren't choosing literatures in English and why fewer and lesser students are choosing it each year. So I think right now her best bet is an interview or a series of interviews. Now, number 14, which of the following factors could invalidate the generalization which Miss Davis may make from the findings? Alright, so invalidate here means disprove or discredit or, make nullify, thrown in file 13 type of thing. Like, what could make people look at Miss Davis and say, that not the right brother? No, that one dash way. Which one of these answers would make her research null and void? The sample size is too large. The sample size is not representative of the population. The research is carried out only in Miss Davis's school, or the research is conducted during the end of year examinations, right? Doesn't matter if it's conducted during end of year examinations. Still can ask the question, why did you choose say physics instead of literatures in English? Why did you choose physical education instead of literatures in English? Is physical education a CAPE subject? No? Yes? I don't know. The research is carried out only in Miss Davis's school. That's no problem at all, because that's what she wants to find out. Why are the people or the students in her sixth form not choosing literatures in English? So that's totally fine. No, the sample size is too large. Ever since my first video, I've always been saying this. The larger the sample size, the smaller the margin of error. So you want a large sample size for a more accurate representation. That's one of the things that contributes to an accurate representation of a population. Now, the sample is not representative of the population. That's a problem. That is a problem. Because let's say Miss Davis decides to interview people who do literatures in English and some that don't, but had it as an option, then that would be a great representation. But let's say she asks only people and have nothing to do with literatures in English only, then what are you really testing, brother? You get me? So I hope you're getting me. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Question 15. Which of the following must Miss Davis consider in selecting her sample? Composition of the school's population, size of the school's population, and the accuracy of the school's data. All three. So yeah, 15 I'd go with D. No, we're done with that. So we're on to items 16 to 18. Wow. Now, instruction, read the following scenario carefully, then answer items 16 to 18. I'm thinking this is E. Don't shout at me. Was all he got for his pains. Don't you deafen me. What's that the young varmint says, Maud? Mrs. Dovecot came over and got him to understand after 2 or 3 attempts. 3 pence, Maudie, he cackled. 3 pence. Did you hear that, Maud? Did you ever hear the like? I'll bet you ain't never did. 3 pence. The lad, I'm thinking this was the lad will have money what I's got to sweat blood for just to get that megahi, Jesus. What's got his bread so well buttered off on both sides, not to mention the middle. 3 pence, haha, oh Maudie. And he broke down once in helpless laughter. Clement went out and sat under the breadfruit tree that grew before the door, resting his back against the trunk. I got a headache reading this. Which of the following dialectal variations are used in the dialogue? Basilict. Most definitely. Basilict. I is definitely a part of the answer. So you either have, the answer is either A, C, or D. I wouldn't say all 3. No, wouldn't say all 3 at all. Mrs. Dovecot came over and got him to understand after 2 or 3 attempts. I would go with basilict and mesolict. So 1 and 3. Mamma mia. Right? So basically, mesolict is the mix between Creole and the standard English, right? It's easy to understand what most people speak, while acrolect is more sophisticated language. right? So whenever I try to differentiate between acrolect and mesolect, I look at semantics, the types of words used, so diction basically. So the types of words used and how sophisticated they are. Which of the following types of registers is used in the dialogue? Is it casual, frozen, formal, or academic? It's definitely not formal and it's not academic. So it's either frozen or casual. What do you think? Now, the frozen register is what's used in like official documents and stuff like the national anthems, national pledge, national school song, stuff like that. Pledge of allegiance for the US. So casual is more what's used between friends and family and peers, and it may or may not include colloquial terms and slangs and other everyday jargons like lit, lol, LMAO, right? So the register here I would say is casual. Now we have 18. Which of the following communicative behaviors is mainly used in the dialogue? Vocalics, artifacts, kinesthetic, or chronemics? Now, chronemics refers to time, and we can't really tell that time is passing. Artifacts, 3 pence would be an artifact in this case. Kinesthetic, the way, that's basically movement, where they're moving and stuff. Not really, but I saw a lot through diction, so vocalics, words used, laughter, stuff like that. Here we have, he broke down once in helpless laughter, then he went out and he sat under the breadfruit tree that grew before the door, resting his back against the trunk. And here we have Miss Dovecott coming back to answer to what? Try to get whoever to understand. Alright, so that's great. Alright, great. So that was 18. Number 19 were items 19 to 23. Read the following extract from the poem carefully, then answer items 19 to 23. So this is Sonny's letter from prison, Jeb Avenue, something SW, to England. Dear Mama, good day. I hope that when these few lines reach you, they may find you in the best of health. I don't know how to tell you this, for I did make a solemn promise to take care of little Jim and try my best to look out for him. Mama, I really did try my best, but nonetheless, sorry to tell you that poor little Jim get arrested. It was the middle of the rush hour when all of a sudden a police van pull up. Out jump 3 policemen, the whole of them carrying baton. Them walk straight up to me and Jim. One of them hold on to Jim, so them taking him in. Jim tell him to let go of him, for him not do nothing, and him not thief, not even a button. Mama, I just couldn't stand up there and not do nothing. So, I don't? Okay, cool. So, this is apparently a letter from, Sonny, telling his mom that they are in prison, or little Jim is in prison, because, police arrested him for stealing, but apparently he didn't steal anything, so I don't know how. Story for another day, I guess. I don't know, but let's just get into the questions. So the speaker's main purpose for writing this letter is to protest against police brutality and injustice, apologize for being locked up along with Jim, inform his mother of his current address and to console her, or to tell his mother that he and Jim are in jail and to explain why. So both of them are in jail. So to explain that they're in jail and explain why. Now the register of the poem may be described as consultative, intimate, formal, or frozen. I would go with intimate, between mother and son. It's definitely not consultative, it's not formal at all, and it's a bit too informal to be frozen. Or it the register doesn't change. So that's what frozen really means. It's not really changing. But he started so, dear mama, so formal, good day. I hope that when these few lines reach you, they may find you in the best of health. That's all formal. And then he jumped straight into the Creole. He's like, I don't know how to tell you this, for I did make a solemn promise to take care of little Jim and try my best to look out for him. Right? So you can see where that sudden shift from, I'm talking so nice, dear mama, good day. I hope when these few lines reach you, they may find you in the best of health. Right? And he just dove in. Right? So it's not frozen at all. So I'd go intimate between mother and son. 21. Which of the following is a purpose for which the writer uses English Creole in the poem? Providing aesthetic pleasure to the reader, persuading readers to reject racism and social injustice, serving as a vehicle of easy communication between inmates. I think I said this once was the answer, but this was so wrong. No. Providing appropriate communication between the mother and the son. I think that's it. Based on the tone of the letter, the relationship between the receiver and the sender may be described as tense, bitter, cordial, or affectionate. It's not tense and it's not bitter. So you either have to go with cordial or affectionate. I think affectionate is quite of a stretch. It sounds like a passionate word. So I'd go more with cordial, warm and friendly-ish, right? So, yeah, let's leave it there. I'd go with C. So, Sonny is most likely to be incarcerated where? In England, since that's where it is like, here we go. Here. That's the thing given on from Jeb Avenue in England. There you go. So those were questions 19 to 23. So we're up to 24 to 26. Alright, we're coming on. And more reading, of course. So this is from The Wine of Astonishment by Earl Lovelace. I've always wanted to read this book. Alright, so let's see what we have here. Rufus had in him a passion, a kind of vexation that when he stand up before a crowd, he would get all tangled up with his words and his feelings. But Rufus don't have the education. They tell this story how one night at a meeting, Rufus was talking about the cost of living. People can't eat book in this country, Rufus said. People can't eat words. What the people need is bread, B-R-E-D, bread. Rufus, you leave out the A, somebody from the crowd called out to him, and Rufus correct himself, B-R-E-D-A. They tell of another time, the reporter tell Rufus that Mr. Richardson suggests that they should put more boys out in the sea to mark the area. Boys, Rufus say, big men does drown out there in the sea and he want to put boys? No, we couldn't vote for Rufus. Who we want in the council is a man that qualify, a man with education just like the people in Britain. Ivan could really talk. Rufus was all right. But after you listen to Ivan Morton, you had to put Rufus aside. Alright, that's kind of sad, but nothing else to say. Which of the following roles is language serving in the extract when it is used to judge Rufus's level of education? Social, ethical, political, or psychological? And I think it's a social issue. I think when I first did this, I had said psychological because education, brain, but a mind. But guess what? It's the role of language here serving in the extract as per judging Rufus's level of education is a social problem. It's a social issue because they're telling us that they would prefer Ivan Morton over Rufus just because Ivan Morton can speak. They want somebody that is qualified, right? So that's social. That's a social issue. 25. The narrator relates the stories about Rufus mainly to show hatred for Rufus or to show that Rufus is uneducated, show that people dislike Rufus. People don't dislike Rufus. Validate the view that Rufus is competent. No. They're not saying Rufus is competent. Rather, they're saying that he's incompetent because he is uneducated. So it's basically to show that, Rufus is uneducated. That's why he didn't get the position. Not because he was competent or incompetent, or let's not go there. 26. Which of the following attitudes may be inferred about the narrator based on his account of Rufus's behavior? He values education. He likes British people. He does not like people with passion. He was unsympathetic towards Rufus. He was sympathetic, to be honest. He likes British people. It's a stretch. He values education, right? He values education. Now let's do 27 to 28. Now read the following dialogue carefully, then answer items 27 to 28. Please be in standard English. Woo-hoo. Alright, so we have Iberry and Marcel. Marcel, what go on, youth? I true say you did there for him. Is studying, yes, you were studying? Hi, Iberry. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Yes, I've been studying overseas. Nice to see you, my friend. Iberry. Mind you talking like real foreigner? Like you forget where you come from? Like you forget where you come from? Sorry. I traveled before and I went to high school. Oh, high school. High school. And I still talk like people where I come from. Chillax, my man. Alright, which of the... Oh my god. Where did you go to high school, Iberry? Which of the following relationships between education and language is most evident in this scenario? Only educated people use correct language. Language use is indicative of one's education level. Education negatively impacts one's use of language. That's not true. Education causes one to forget one's mother tongue. No. It's, language use is indicative of one's education level. Now, Iberry's attitude towards Marcel's use of standard English can be described as scornful, accepting, indifferent, or annoyed. He doesn't sound annoyed. He's more scornful of it. He's like, you forget where you come from? And then he's going to say he went to high school and he still talk like him people them. So, nah. Okay? So, I hope we're good with that, and we're going to move on to items 29 to 30. Okay? So, which of the following grammatical features is evident in the expression, me ain't have no money? That's a double negative. Ain't and have no, or no. That's a double negative. It's just like Spanish. You would be saying, Spanish. Spanish. Oh. When you say no tengo nada, hoping some of you know Spanish. So this means I have nothing. So in actuality, no tengo means I do not have, nada means nothing. So in reality, you're saying I do not have nothing. Yes, so double negative. Which of the following features of language do Creole and Standard English have in common? Human and prestigious. Systematic, arbitrary, and static. Human, systematic, and non-instinctive or non-verbal. Syntactic, and syntactic, and non-instinctive. Features of language. Yeah, we're trying to find what's common between Creole and Standard English. Alright. Check out prestigious. Arbitrary, no. So we're here a human, systematic, and non-instinctive. And non-instinctive meaning it's human nature. Wait, what? Yeah. Non-instinctive. Oh my god, I'm correct. It's natural. It's human nature, it just come off like that. So both are non-instinctive. So this is kind of a little disappointing that it's in both C and D. So we're going to have to think about it a bit more. Syntactic and systematic are similar because they go according to rules. So both here. Non-verbal though, I don't think so. Nah. So for this, let's see. Alright, so items 31 to 33. And I'm hungry. Ooh, look, a wishing well. She throws a penny in there, and this man hisses his teeth. Or he says te. No, it's TCH. So I hope you heard that. Alright, you don't believe in those things, do you? Not anymore. Why? Did she wish he would go away? Oh my god. 31. The man's body language in box 1 indicates that he is thrilled, irritated, indifferent, or supportive. In box 1, he's looking at the lady. I wouldn't say thrilled. Can't tell that he's irritated. Supportive, nah. Alright, let's go with indifferent. I want to say he's unconcerned, but he seems a bit concerned. Like, why is she going over to the wishing well? Like, mind your own business, sir. 32. Which of the following words describes the man's tone in box 4? Box 4 is like, you don't believe in those things, do you? And he says angry, disdainful, despairing, or conciliatory. I wouldn't say despairing and not angry or that. It's like it's more on this disdainful side, like scornful type of thing. Alright? And what context of communication is depicted in the conversation? Right? You have small group, or you have you have what context of communication is depicted in the conversation. Small group, intercultural, no. It's not small group either. So it's either interpersonal or intrapersonal, and they want you to, they did this on purpose. The inter versus the intra. Now, intra means within. So intrapersonal would be within self. So that's like in your mind, in your own consciousness. While inter is between. So interpersonal would be between people. So here the conversation is between the man and the woman. So it's interpersonal. Alright? Now let's deal with 34 and 35. Right? So read the following scenario carefully. Then answer items 34 to 35. Your friend Kristen is running for head girl, and you have agreed to be her campaign manager. Kristen has to give a speech to the upper school students at General Assembly. Which of the following audience reactions would indicate that the upper school students are likely to vote for Kristen? Looking at her while she speaks, loud rumbling whenever she pauses, discussing her main points with friends, or applauding whenever she makes a point. Applauding whenever she makes a point seems encouraging. If Kristen is to avoid sending mixed or intentional unintentional messages to her audience, to which aspect of the communication process should she pay special attention to? Encoding. I would say encoding. She has to make certain of how she delivers the message, right? So that it's not mixed, or it's not saying what she doesn't want to come across, right? Or she wants to avoid misinterpretations, so she has to pay attention to how she develops her message or conceptualizes it and actually sends it out. 36 to 39. Alright? Now read the following scenario carefully, then answer items 36 to 39. A presentation on digital communication is being made in a lecture theater where the air conditioning unit does not work. The presenter speaks loudly and uses some words that seems to annoy and confuse the audience. That's semantic noise. When they use words that you don't know, semantic noise. Right? Simon thinks the speaker does not care about his audience, and so he stops listening and starts planning his holiday. Sounds like a good thing to do. The speaker's use of visual aid does not help in making the audience feel that they are learning anything new from his presentation. So probably the same, he's reading verbatim from the PowerPoint, which is not a very good strategy when doing presentations. 36, which of the following are barriers to communication in the scenario? Poor visual aids, listeners' attitude, or broken air conditioner. So, which of the following are the barriers? Alright, so poor visual aid and the broken air conditioner. Like, listeners' attitude isn't the barrier to communication. The barriers to the communication are what are causing the listeners' poor attitude. So 1 and 3. 37. Which of the following types of barriers is mainly responsible for the failure of the communication process for Simon? Internal, physical, external, or psychological? The broken air conditioner, the poor visual aid, all of those seem like external factors or physical factors. External. No, not really external, because I kind of feel that's his fault. It is his fault, so I'd go physical. Alright. 38. I don't really like that question because physical noise is external noise. It is, yeah. But anywho, the process by which messages are exchanged and meanings interpreted between the speaker and the audience is known as process by which messages are exchanged and meanings interpreted between the speaker and the audience is decoding. So the message being received. Only describes the process where the message is being received. So decoding. Which of the following does not operate as barrier to communication in this scenario? Semantics, perception, vocalics, gender. I don't matter. Alright, now we're going to questions 40 to 43, and then we'll have 40 to 45 and we're done. So stick out for the long run, right? So select the most appropriate answer for items 40 to 43. So number 40 says, a student's expository essay typically aims to affect the emotions. Expository pieces should not affect emotion. Recount experiences, that's a narrative. Enlighten and inform the reader, or to present the writer's personal viewpoint. Seems a bit biased when you say personal viewpoint, so enlighten and inform the reader. Expository pieces should not persuade in any way at all. Just remember that. Which of the following would be the main organizational strategy used in an expository essay on the topic types of luxury cars? Description, classification, chronological order, comparison, and contrast. No for chronological order. I would say classification. Not so much comparison and contrast, because you just want to know types. So you're just telling us the types, I guess. That's what I'm getting from it. So I wouldn't go with comparison and contrast, because I wouldn't be comparing the vehicles. And description, not really. 42. One organizational feature of language that is not typically found in expository text is the use of emotive language, facts and statistics, information from experts, details supporting main points. Emotive language. Remember, expository pieces should not persuade in any way or form. Now, which of the following is the correct sequence that a presenter should follow to successfully complete the communication process? Alright, so conceiving the message, number 1, or let's see what they have. Encoding the message, selecting a channel, selecting the audience. You need to know the audience before you select a channel, so no for A. Conceiving the message, encoding the message, selecting the channel, disseminating the message, maybe. Encoding the message, transmitting the message. So that you have to select the channel before you can transmit the message. Conceiving the message, interpreting the feedback. You need to actually select the audience, send out the message before you can interpret feedback. So no for C and no for D. So the answer is B. Alright, so we're at 44 to 45. Really? So read the following scenario carefully, then answer items 44 to 45. Now your friend Sandra is experiencing great difficulty in organizing persuasive speeches. 44 says, which of the following is an effective strategy for organizing her speeches? Use of repetition, many exclamatory statements, sequenced and summarized points, or use of researched examples. Strategy for organizing her speech. You want an organizational strategy, so you want to sequence and summarize your points. These are more like techniques, so C for this. Which of the following strategies could help Sandra make a successful delivery? Focusing on a friendly face, pacing the room, and avoiding eye contact. You don't want to do that. That's like a recipe for disaster. Reading directly from her paper, nah. You would disconnect from the audience in that way, and that's not a good thing either. Keeping her eye fixed on the overhead projector, that probably look weird, and they probably wonder what is possessing you. So no. So focusing on a friendly face, keep your eyes in the audience. Look at a friend, look at your friend group, let them hype you up. But yeah, that was questions 1 to 45 for the 2021 communication studies paper. And as usual, if you're hearing this, guys, that means that you've made it to the end of the video. Congratulations. You know what to do. Drop a like on the video, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications so you know every time I post. And always feel free to hit me up on Instagram at any of my pages. Firstly _CAM_EO. My name is Camille, by the way. And my business page at young_genius.official. And that is it. So until next time, guys, keep dreaming big and tell me what you want me to do in the comments.